Morning, everyone. In this video, we're going to talk about the convocation card Astral Ring. I think there's something I recorded on this a while back. I don't know if I released it. I know I was pretty excited to try this card at some point. I think I played one game with it, but I quickly went to the duel, and then it kind of dropped out because there's no space for it in the duel. But if you're running a solo convocation list, I think there is potential for this card. And it's probably a little bit underexplored, especially since, I'm not a big Plains of Podok fan. I think Bane is really good. But let's just talk about Astral Ring and try to really, I think it's one of those cards where it looks very powerful, but then maybe you can be convinced yourself that it's not powerful, and then you're like, what is it really doing? And so let's just kind of walk through it. Maybe we can, what's the word? Quantify it in a certain way or think of it differently. I think of, let's just go for it. So Astral Ring, it's a convocation card, active at the start of a convocation character's activation. It may spend 2 to play this card. So it's 2 cost. You have to be convocation character, which is important considering that if you think of, I don't know, a lot of my rosters, I only run 3 convocation characters. So that is, okay, well, it's a limiting factor for sure. It is what it is. You place a projection token, which is a 1-inch token, within 3 of this character when measuring ranges of this character's attacks or superpowers measured from the projection token. Instead, this character does not contest objectives normally. Instead, the projection token contests all objectives as if it were this character. While the projection token is in play, this character cannot advance or be placed. Remove the projection token. Okay. Pretty simple, right? You put a token within 3 of you. You measure all your ranges from it. Enemy can't do shit with the token. You can't be placed or pushed, or advanced or placed. You can be pushed and you can be thrown, and it counts as you. So let's just think of some immediate things that's pretty cool. All right, so you get to basically extend the range of your attacks for the cost of 2 power, which is great because if you're thinking of, let's just take Strange is the best example because he's your leader. He has the power to pay for it. It's not just going to be Strange. Even something like, Ancient One, if you play her, she always gets 2 power. So if she's standing, let's just go right to TTS because we're here. I don't have Ancient One out, but let's just assume we did. If you're Ancient One and you're sitting back here on a back F or something, this is Fire Infected, but think it's like Scoundrels or something, right? She's only range 2 on a lot of her attacks. So she can't get to people. Now she can do the little plays, your little hop, and she doesn't actually get there. But hey, if you really wanted, you're sitting back here, place the token here, right? Is there a token over here? I think there's one sitting under here. I want that. I want this. Kind of place from this. All right, anyway, here it is. Right, you could place it here. You can attack anybody on that point if you wanted. If you get enough power, you could spend her from that point. And you're safe. You're sitting back here, out of harm's way. You can hit somebody 3 + 2, 5 away. Because the total distance you would get is 5. So, if you wanted to really do the range of, a 2 off of this. So, let's just assume this is the projection token, right? Let me move it, right? And then if you went 3 back, just for purposes of showing you distances, right? So assume that is, I don't know why the markers aren't working off that. And you assume this is 2, right? So if we just put, let's say, Voodoo within 2, should be just within range 5. Yep, right? 1 inch plus 4, 3 plus, it's the same distance. So you basically can turn your attacks into range 5 for a turn for 2 power. Now, you don't count as contesting where you're standing, so it does matter, are you trying to get another point? Are you trying to get the point you're on? Is the enemy going to dive the point you're on? Do you have somebody else standing there? So first off, just extending ranges of attacks, pretty good. That's a range 2 attack that becomes range 5. So basically you get plus 7 inches to all your attacks, which is, a Voodoo range 3 spender becomes 13 inches. Without moving. Or range 3, sorry, not spender. Normal attack. That's 13 inches. That's really far. Very, very far. What's also interesting about that is it works on superpowers. So Voodoo could be standing back here, right? And sure, like I think one thing to remember is like this is in place of moving. If you think about the distance a place 3 gets you, it's the same distance as walking once with a medium base medium move. It's a little bit farther than walking once with a small base medium move, and then go from there. I mean, those are the only two that matters. There's no large base convocation models. So if you think about it in Voodoo's case, it basically saves a walk for 2 power. So a medium move for 2 power is pretty good. I mean, Avengers Assemble is much better, and it's many more characters, but if you think of it in that case, you save an action just doing that. If you think about just extending ranges without having to move. I think that's the big thing. Like the hard thing to quantify is it's sure if you want to put it down and say, hey, you basically get a medium move out of this, right? In a world where all you have left is Voodoo, right? Let's just say in a world where all you have left is Voodoo, and they have a character somewhere here, right? Like that. All you gain from putting out the token and putting it here and then attacking from that, right? Which is the same as you'll end up right where the token is if you walk, right? Oh, look, math. It works. The only thing you gain is you save an action. You don't have to walk. You could attack this person twice. Now, if you want to go a little deeper, you could say, if you walk and possess, you can pick up the extract, and you can't do it here because you're all the way back here. Sure, we get it. We get it, guys. You can't pick up the extract. There are some caveats here. I'm not trying to get into every little detailed case. But you basically gain action. Like if the card read 2, gain an attack, you'd probably really like it as well. So that's one instance of it. It also makes you safer, I think is the other thing to realize. I can now attack this person twice with whoever. I'm using Voodoo's example because Strange is the more compelling one. I can now attack this person twice, and I'm super far away from them. So their retaliation is very minimal, right? And I think it's actually kind of interesting on New Voodoo because the attack is probably going to pay for the power, but you can do things like he's standing here, right? And you say, all right, I'm going to put the token over here. And now, you have all this. This freaking token. I'm going to just pretend it's this spider infected because it won't let me do ranges from it for whatever reason. Right? If it's like here. Now you have all this range to possess and attack. And you're still sitting back here. You could almost possess somebody that's sitting in this area, and they can't get to you as easy. So actually, countering the possession is pretty difficult at that point. And sure, you don't count as sitting back here. And sometimes that's actually a good case. I think we're going to think of one that's maybe it's a use case of it. But yeah, I kind of like that. Just the threat range, right? You're just extending your threat range with Voodoo. You could possess farther out. You could potentially... it doesn't get you any better of, double walk possessing is still covers way more distance. But if they're in that range of, I don't know. You kind of get me on that one, right? Just projecting the threat range, I think, has some uses. If he's loaded up in power, possessing multiple people, staying in the back, great. I think Strange with the threat range stuff is a little bit more interesting. So I think of Strange of let's say he's standing back here. Let's say it's Gamma, whatever. He's on the back. And sometimes Wong is back there with you, especially turn 1, right? Turn 1, let's say that's Wong. You're usually not up here with Strange. Sometimes you are. But you want to mess with people, right? And so it actually provides a very unique turn 2-ish. And maybe it's better on Researcher if you think about it. Researcher probably has a lot more uses because, you put that token out there, right? So let's just Strange is sitting on a back Gamma. Let's just say Gamma Researcher. Let's just take Gamma Researcher again. I don't know if it's perfect, but we're going to do it that way, right? Gamma Researcher, you have your Ultron in the middle, maybe somebody else. and it's turn 2, and it's tight for the researcher, and all of a sudden you get to just snap out a projection token, right? And they can't get you off of it. There's nothing they can do except KOing Strange to stop you from having him on there, right? And that is very powerful ability, especially if you only need it for one turn to kind of bring it back to you the next turn, right? So now you have him on it, maybe you have Ultron on it, and all of a sudden, god damn it, I gotta use this one. All of a sudden, you get to bring the researcher back too, right? And it's fine. You don't have the token anymore, but you don't need it anymore because Strange is much closer to it now for next turn. The other thing with Strange is, I play a lot of Strange where I teleport in, spend my 4 power, double tap, maybe teleport some people out, and I'm kind of stuck there, right? So I'm hoping I can't get retaliated on, hoping I can get the teleports off, stuff like that. But it also provides a turn, when you think of games where there's, first turn is whatever. I mean, it's important, but you don't need to Astral Ring first turn. But just sometimes you need a little swing, a little something to really, either keep ahead or get ahead. And, this kind of can do that where you can, essentially, you get, okay, it's a 1 inch less range than if teleports yourself. But one thing that's kind of a benefit is you aren't blocked by your own models. You can put the token underneath, like Ultron or something. Like, you can put it somewhere where you're not getting, screwed by it. Oh, yeah, I remember why I was so jacked up about this. I had, a couple instances where I was like, this is going to be awesome. So think of, enemies, right? So you have enemies, on the midline or something, or on the midpoint, whatever. You're in this situation where there's, an enemy, 2 characters. And sometimes you teleport in, and you go, I'm going to fight, and hopefully teleport their big baddie out. But if you're sitting with, a Strange, now you can say, all right, I'm going to go in. I'm going to put my token here. So already, you have got into the position you want to go into, because you need to be within 2 to teleport them. It's great, even if they were in range 3, but maybe you're not within range 2 to teleport. Because if you think of them sitting, back here or something, right? You can't do anything to them, blah, blah, blah. Now, all of a sudden, you have this interesting dynamic of even just Strange. He is, we even say it's Gamma Research, whatever it is. Something in the midline stuff. Right? You're in a situation where Wong's back here, Strange is here. And maybe your typical turn is teleport in, attack, try to teleport him away, hope they can't get to you, right? All of a sudden, for 2 power, not 4, so 4, it automatically costs 4 to teleport in. And now you're okay, let's do our best, right? Now you can do something a little different. You say, all right, I'm going to put my token here. So you're doing 2 things. One, you're contesting the middle without being on it. This is also good on demons if you're are not standing on the back point and you want to contest it for a turn because you don't count as being. I don't think it works on D. I think you still won't get because it'll go in the cleanup phase. So I don't think you'll get on fire, for example. Anyway, so now you're there. All right. So now you get to 2 attacks, something you would have got before if you teleported yourself in, but you save 2 power. That could be big. 2 attacks, and now I think the other thing that's kind of important is when you teleport these guys away, or teleport your own team or whatever, you're not there anymore. There's a lot of times where I do this with Strange, and I'm standing here, and it sucks because they can come back and throw me or come back and hit me. So now there's nothing they can do. They can't even get back to fight you, right? So you've basically gained 2 power. It's almost I want to call it a hit and run, but it is, right? You've basically got to walk up here, make 2 attacks, do everything you wanted, walk back for 2 power. And you still count as standing in the middle. It actually, in my head, this card is, insane sometimes. The more, I remember I made a video on it, and I was, super hyped up about it. And I just never got to testing it, and it dropped off for other things. But now I'm, back at it, baby. I have room in my list to put this card. I have mind games in there now. Man. Because, Researcher, right? If you can do this on Researcher. It's also kind of cool because if you play, let's say you were against Thanos, not a great example, but let's say you're against Thanos, and you play this card on Researcher, right? You might, it's a real legit experience that you could beat it. not only do you do the nice, like, oh, I'm back there and maybe I teleport him away and I'm out of, like, strike range, he can't move you anymore because you can't be advanced or placed. So you can't be mind gemmed. You can't be portaled, which is actually a big deal because he can't bring you in to kill him. Your other guys can, but I don't know. An Ultron can't bring you in, can't pull you. Another Strange can't place you. Like, I don't know. That's actually pretty cool, isn't it? Like, you can't be deceptioned because you can't advance. I don't know if that ever matters, but it's a thing. Like, and also, like, if you have 4 power, right, for just a measly 4 power, which Strange often can get to, and he doesn't have to play at the beginning, and you could do it later in the turn, right? Like, you can do something where, like, if you want to see how the turn's going, and Strange is sitting on, like, a back F on, like, a Scoundrels with Wong. So a lot of times, like, my Strange is, like, sitting back here with Wong, right? On an F map, which I could just probably do it by redoing the tokens, because I had the ones, right? Pretend the Spider infected our Scoundrels, right? You're sitting here on a back F with Wong, because after turn 1, you kind of move up and do your shit, right? If it's later in the turn and you can see how things are going and you can say, all right, well, I can put a free model here if I want. I can put a model here if I want. And if nobody's on this one, which usually they don't come to you, I mean, depends, right? But usually if you have 2 models there, they're not going to just stick somebody next to you. You can just, all right, he counts as 1. It's basically like I don't even call it a free VP, but you can get a VP just by sitting here and doing exactly what I just said, which is just projecting on, if you're standing here saying, all right, instead of wasting being 2 actions here, I'll just project to one of them. And, for 6 power, you could project here. So instead of teleporting Strange up to do it himself, the real thing is 2 things. It's safer for Strange to do it, and it's cheaper for Strange to do it, right? You can teleport to the portal thing, attack, and try to get somebody off of it. But if you only have 3 power, there's a lot, like, that's another thing too. There's sometimes where you're on 3 power and there's no one in range, and you don't like it actually is a big deal if you start with 3 power and no one's in range of you to walk and attack. And so this lets you almost like gets around that for a turn. Oh, man, I really like the idea of this card. I know Bane is pretty good. I sometimes I think this is better than Bane of Dalenbal. I'm not gonna lie. Like Root is very good. I don't want to go into the Bane discussion because I do like that card and it has been useful. Probably the one thing I dislike about Bane the most, if I had to pick something that I'm like, is one. Somebody else mentioned this in the chat. Is like I tend to wait to use it till it's like the perfect opportunity. But also. What's the other thing? Like, I tend to, like, double tap people with Strange to kill them. And so, like, a lot of the time, the root doesn't matter. Like, unless I'm getting, like, a turn 1 range 5 spender into a group of people, like, a lot of times I'm double tapping somebody to try to kill them. And so, getting root on them doesn't really matter because they're going to die anyway, unless you're, like, rooting Bill instantly so he can't reduce the next attack. And so if there's not, like, prime targets around them, it's not, like, getting a ton of value. So I'm not 100% convinced on it all the time, but it's a good card. I mean, I would have them both in my 10. But yeah, I mean, this is the one that, like, gets me. It's like when you play on, like, Researcher or, like, an F map or something, just being able to, or even, like, an E map, even if it's just one turn, that Strange gets to get the middle one. Like, it could be the 1 VP swing you need to be ahead in the game and never give up from there, right? Like, there might be a turn where, you're playing this demons and spiders and you get safe extracts and all your guys are sitting back here and now you're in the moment of, okay, the enemy is going to get 3 a turn, you're going to get 4 a turn, so they need to get the middle to keep parity, right? And then all you need is 1 turn where, okay, Strange is going to contest the middle. He's going to teleport people off of it. And now you're up by 2, and there's nothing they can do. They're too far behind unless they come get you in the back. I like it, if you're playing things that can charge, like a Malekith, or even an Eyehawk. Not that it's perfect against them, but being able to project, attack, and teleport them away without having to go up yourself to teleport. Yeah, it's like a free action. It's almost like a free action in power, right? Because if you want to teleport up and then walk back, that costs 4 power and an attack and an action. And you're paying 2, it's like plus 2 power, plus 1 action on Strange for a turn. And you get to contest the middle without being unsafe. Man, Fisk, it's really good. It's really nice on Fisk because you can, Fisk is worth 2 points. But you can also, stand there turn 2 and wait and say, okay, which Fisk do I want? And you can avoid the stun because one thing I guess people, you might know about Fisk, but one nice measurement just for you people out there now that we're talking about it is, if these are the Fisks, like if you're within a medium move of the Fisk, you can be stunned by it if the enemy wants you to. So, if Strange is right here and they, they might not know this, but if you're within the medium move, if you do this and you place it at you, you're just out. Because the token is 1 inch, so it's 3 plus 1 plus 1 because it's front to back. Or there's 3 plus 1, which is 4, and then 1 inch for the AoE, so that's 5 inches. So if you're not within a medium move, they can't Fisk you, but you can get them. So if you're sitting between the 2 Fisks, I don't actually know where they stand on the board, but I wonder. Let's bring out Fisk. Let's see if we can find it. It's a secure. Oh, don't shuffle. Shit. Now they're not in order. There it is. I got it. Fisk. I think you can stand between them and pick either one if you want it. Yeah, that's easy. So if you just want to be like, I don't know what turn it is. Let's just say you're sitting like here for some reason. Like right between them. Out of range of being attacked by it. In your turn, you could say, all right, I'm going to put my token here. I'm going to teleport you away. Plus 2 points. Strange can't be stunned. The more oh my god, this card feels amazing. Feels amazing. On Wong, the only use I can see it for is if somehow he's like flushed with power. It doesn't happen often. If you're flushed with power on Wong, I think there's 2 uses for it. One is projecting onto like a researcher and just saying, okay, I count Wong. If Strange is somewhere else, like a last ditch effort of Wong to like do the Fisk thing I just said, or researcher is strong. For 2 power, basically Wong gets to stand there. Obviously, if it's that only matters if you think Wong's gonna die, right? Like if it's last activation, Wong can just double walk there and you don't really care about it. It's also kind of cute. Like if Wong has 3 power, he can walk and do it anyway. I guess there are times where sometimes Wong is sitting on a back point. Oh, then you lose the point. I don't even know. It's not as good with Wong. Maybe if he's flushed with power and you want to project and then double heal somebody that's far away and count as being on that point. Wong is not your, like, I'm going to definitely take it with... Wong just happens to be in the list if you're doing it. Yeah, so I don't think Wong is anything special in that kind of regard. Yeah, yeah. I want to read one more thing about the card real quick. Does not contest. Okay, yeah. Too bad you can't pick up things, so that'd be too good, though. Just projecting up. I could definitely see this coming out in, like I said, Fisk, Researcher, F-Maps, Scoundrels, maybe even Bees. Like, Bees are this far apart, right? So you could stand here with Strange and Wong turn 1, and then turn 2, Infinity or something. Go here. I'm using the Fisk now. Put your token out here. Teleport, attack, double tap, count there, count here, and then come back and, like... It's kind of, like I said, it's kind of nice, especially if you don't have priority. Actually, that's when it's probably almost like the best on Researcher and stuff, is when you're activating last. because you can always choose to not do it, right? If they have two people on the middle, and you're like, man, I'm never gonna be able to get it, you don't have to do it. But if on researcher, if you activate last, it's twofold. Like I said before, you can choose to put it there, and then boom, thumbs up, count yourself, and maybe it saves enough power to get the two blasts off, two teleports off, and then next turn you're safe because they're gonna have top of turn. So like something like Malekith, right? If Malekith is standing contesting here, right, and you're like, well, if you were to come up here and stand there, and then he can charge back at you, but now you shuffle Malekith to the back, and all of a sudden he's way far away. I mean, he can double walk and charge you now, but he can't just get back there right away. So yeah, I like that a lot. I think I'm putting it back in my 10 after this video. This video just convinced me to put it back in my 10 and try it on some of these maps. And that's it. Thanks for listening.